Right, we're on. Do you ever play golf and feel as though you've lost complete connection with the club face? At times I do, and I understand it, I get it. It's very hard to understand where the club face actually is in space when we're swinging the golf club. Today we're going to give you a little drill. It's a very, very simple drill, which is going to give you understanding of how the wrists, the forearms and the club face all work together to make sure we can get that club face on the back of the golf ball as intended. So we hopefully start to make square contact or precise contact with club face on ball. That's today's topic. Really, really simple drill. Everyone will understand it. Let's do this. Right then, club face. When we take the club back, is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Hopefully it's not there. It's a hard one to feel, it's a hard one to understand. How do we get to that position? Also on the way down, do we go back through that position? Do we come in funkily closed? Do we come in super open? How can we relate that? What drill can we do to feel this? And why is that so important? Well, it's important because the face is in line with a path or a plane, so it has to be specific with our intended target, the intention of our horizontal plane. Let's not get into that too much though. But you can see there when the club comes back, that's a wrong position, that's a wrong position, that's pretty close to right, so we're good there. Now, how did the wrist do that? What happened to my right hand there to make that happen? Quite often I see people taking the club back with no wrist action whatsoever. There's no rotation of the wrist, there's no forearm rotation. That's trouble. You're always going to get into trouble there if you're too solid and too wooden. So a drill to feel the club face opening and closing perfectly. I've got a 7-iron and an 8-iron. I use these clubs because they're middle of the bag, so they're easier to control. Now, if I ask people to take one arm swing, so just one hand only, quite often they take it back without any bend of the right arm, without any rotation of the right arm, and they take it very straight back. So again, we're going back into this position here and there and then through, and we don't get the club set. If you take both clubs, and I now ask somebody to swing both clubs together, all of a sudden there's freedom. All of a sudden the forearms start to rotate correctly, the right elbow bends correctly, the wrists start to do their thing with release patterns, if you like, or in relation to release. So take two clubs and swing them both at the same time, like so. Now all of a sudden you can see what happens there is my club face is in a good position, my right wrist is flexed back, my left wrist is flat, and my right arm has started to bend. I continue past that position, left wrist is cocked, right wrist is bent, right arm flexed, as you can see there. And then I ask them to follow through, and of course we come back down to square face, down to two arms straight, 1 yard past the ball, square, two arms straight, 1 yard past, and then they start to release. Once the release happens, you'll see there, both club faces point to the sky. If you grab two clubs just now, which I'll just wait for you to do that, you got them, you will immediately feel that happening. It's incredible. Just take two clubs and both arms work correctly. Take two clubs, swing them, and both arms work correctly. Trying to keep both shafts the same distance apart for the whole motion. Now all of a sudden there's pivot as well, so my body is starting to turn to allow this to happen. There, right wrist is flexed backwards, bent backwards, right arm flexed, right forearm rotated. Left hand, flat left wrist, left forearm has rotated, and you can see the club face is set correctly, flat left wrist. Now that's purely from swinging two clubs together and trying to keep the shafts the same distance apart. Down into impact, I'm pretty good there, and now you can release into impact and then continue through. Purely because we now have two hands on two clubs and we have control. Homer Kelly talks in The Golfing Machine about educating the hands. That to me is educating the hands, the forearms and the wrists. Also the right elbow and the pivot and the club head release and extensor action when the right arm starts to straighten through impact to two arms straight, finish and follow through. I told you that was an amazing drill. How many good things happen there. Start short. Start with the clubs about a foot apart. There to there to there. Increase the distance. Increasing range of motion, feeling forearm, feeling right elbow, feeling flat left wrist, feeling bent right wrist, feeling and understanding where club face is going to be, because now there's two of them to watch, two of them to monitor, with two hands, so easy. I mean, oh my God. Whew. We then take that there, maintaining that sensation. I can feel, I know there my right arm is in position, I know my right wrist is bent, and I know my left wrist will be flat. So therefore my club face is in control. I know where the club face is, I'm educating myself to feel that. Then I can step up, hit one down there, gaining the sensations I had of two clubs, and the body marries up with that. Pretty good, eh? Same again, two clubs, feel that. There's the face, there's the forearm rotating, there's the right wrist bending, left wrist flat, cocked, uncocking, release. Great. Two arms to feel that same action. Yes. Yes. Step on. Yes. Yes. And I feel it. I absolutely feel it. And you will too. Just grab two golf clubs. Make sure it's a 7 and 8 iron, because that's middle of the bag, not too long a club, so it's easy to control. Keep them the same distance apart with shaft wise and club head as you do this, and you will feel how all those actions work, and you can control club face and understand how the wrists, forearm, right elbow, flat left wrist, pivot, impact, everything I mentioned before all falls into place from a simple little drill like that.